Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of Square Triangle. We'll be talking about Bash in Berlin this time. You can catch us next week when we inevitably talk about All Out.
Yes, next week will be the last of the 3-week stretch. That usually comes around the end of August now, it seems. So
yeah.
Then we'll have a week or two off before the next one. So
yep.
Until what? Bad Blood.
Bad Blood's next up.
Yeah, Bad Blood. Then I think Grand Slam is coming up as well. Or is that Norma off on that? I know you posted the list of them in the Discord.
Yeah, isn't Grand Slam like a Dynamite though?
It was. I think they've made it a stadium show now.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're just continually adding to that pay-per-view schedule. But yeah. So this week is Bash in Berlin. I think when it comes to these B show pay-per-views, WWE has settled on 5 or 6 matches, which is what it feels like. I guess that's to make up for all the big shows seemingly becoming 2 days now. So there's just like B shows smaller, big shows bigger. And
it's not even that they're smaller, because smaller would imply that they are small. They have like less hours of the pay-per-view. You're still buying 4 hours. You're just not getting more 5. You're just getting less than 5 matches.
Yeah,
you're getting about 5 matches and some promos, so to speak.
Promos.
Yeah, because this show was what I think live it was like 3 or 4 hours, right? When it comes to actual in-ring wrestling, though, about an hour 45. So that is almost criminal, if you ask me. I'm glad they're giving this shit for free on a streaming service and having to pay for it.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think they're focusing more on the quality of their B shows. Which,
this was the quality was here for this one.
Yeah, the matches were all solid.
Yeah, there wasn't one bad match on this show.
More.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a match here that I just felt like was kind of subpar. But ultimately I think it just comes down to what they're fighting over. The women's tag titles just seem pointless right now. It seems like they're just there to keep people like engaged in things, but there's just not enough tag teams in the women's division to make these like worth it. I think it's time for, a secondary title to be introduced instead of the tag titles now. But we'll get to that. So yeah, 5 matches
with the WWE Championship.
Yeah, 5 matches. First match on Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. Big change from WWE in recent memory. He's usually the last one to go on.
Yeah,
but I think the last match earned its spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Event. Like, it was so fucking good. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. This feud had a build, but it's not really a face versus heel. It's him giving Kevin Owens a shot because he feels like he deserves it. Kevin doesn't feel like he deserves it. Basically 2 friends having the match for the title. Hints of KO going back to his old ways, but ultimately not pulling the trigger, which I think is the better build to an eventual, Kevin betrays his friend again heel turn.
Oh, it's that thing he does all the time. Oh no.
Yeah, it's that thing he's like known for and people still trust him.
That thing Kevin Owens is world famous for.
Yeah.
Like in how many different feds?
Yeah. But yeah, Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Championship. Good opening match.
Yeah, it was a solid match. I was because we always talk about in these things how Cody Rhodes is the 5th best person to do all of the signature moves.
Yes.
I will say I did enjoy the Cody Cutter counter into like the suplex that Kevin Owens did like twice.
Yeah, there were some interesting some interesting spots. I actually did not write notes for this one, so I'm just kind of going off of memory. I want to see if the shorter ones do help me remember them easier too, like if the matches stand out more. Yeah, so like little moments like that where it's like the cutter into the suplex doesn't really ring as clear to me as, the hesitation of the power bomb on the apron and then him yelling at Wade Barrett. Like, where's your killer instinct? He's like, shut up, idiot. but definitely bits of old KO starting to come out.
I love when KO reacts to something that he probably shouldn't be reacting to.
Yeah.
Like the commentary or some random dude in a crowd, or any of those little things just makes his character so much better. His character is so much better for it.
Yeah. And I think this was a good like break from all the bloodline stuff for Cody. Getting him an actual like different feud with different people. Did feel a lot fresher of a match because of that, different energies than Solo Sikoa and all that. And I think the bloodline,
it's also not Cody versus Solo for
it's not Cody versus Solo.
Even though we're probably getting back to that soon.
Yeah, whenever they finish up with whatever Roman's doing with the bloodline.
Yeah.
I think that was like another point about this match too, is they're saying like whoever wins this, the bloodline's like ready to come after. So whether it be, Kevin Owens winning or Cody, the bloodline is still waiting in the wings. Jacob Fatu has gotten out of his boot, so he's back full force. And just they're waiting.
He never really had light duty. He just kept wrestling,
he just kept going. Like the man just didn't stop.
That man is built different.
That dude is tough as shit, man. I mean, that's what he does.
He's got 7 kids? He's got to be tough as shit.
It was Samoan werewolf. So
yeah,
he ain't taking no days off, man.
I think he was also the one that was in prison for a little while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's
I think
half of the current bloodline and the past bloodline. I don't.
That's fair.
I mean,
half of the
narrowing it down, buddy.
Has history. So, but I think like just Jacob Fatu, because of the time spent in there and also the time wrestling, I think he is just a tough motherfucker. Like I think he's like one of the legitimate wrestlers where it's like, I don't think it's kayfabe for him. I think that's just him. It's like
he's just tough.
He's just a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like you're right. He wasn't even on light duty when he was in the foot boot. He just kept going. Like
I think he wrestled maybe less matches than he maybe wanted to, but that like he still ran in and did stuff.
Yeah.
Like running in and kicking someone with the boot on was just like insane to me.
Like if his foot is entirely broken, I don't think he's just gonna take time off. He's making the best of this opportunity.
I don't need this foot. It's like,
let me just chop this foot off. I got another one.
But yeah, I really did like this match. Just so I love the kind of feeling matches of like, two faces who are friends, and you can slowly see, even with the end of this match, like Kevin Owens, like seeming like regretting, it's like I should have done more to put Cody away, and like having to pretty much like push himself to, congratulate Cody and all that. We're starting to see that hint of KO going bad again.
Yeah.
And it's just, I like how Cody has all these friends to help with the bloodline, and now it's like, oh, are we going to like run through them as feuds and make them hate Cody? Or, well, Sammy's back to Gunther, which is a great change of pace for Sammy too.
Right.
Might talk about that later. But yeah, great opening match. Got about 23 minutes, so definitely made the most of it too. It didn't no insane over the top like spots, just a lot of just good wrestling between these two guys.
And that's something we could expect from Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. Is like, and that's something I've thought about Cody Rhodes as a wrestler for a long time. Is that he will, if someone is like wrestling like on form, like a Cody, like a Kevin Owens or a Sami Zayn or a Gunther or whoever, he will rise to that level. He'll wrestle quite well with them. But if someone's just phoning it in, he's also going to phone it in.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
You have to have him with a Gunther or even a Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, and I think it just shows like Kevin Owens is, probably one of the best active wrestlers just in the industry right now too. Mm-hmm. So I mean, he can raise up people too. It's not just, Cody having to bump himself up.
And on top of that, Kevin Owens can just wrestle anybody's style also. I mean, he can pretty much adjust to Cody's style, as he did in this match. And there was some really good counter wrestling going on also. So, yeah, hats off to both of these guys. They put on an incredible opening match.
Yeah. for the second match, we move into the women's tag match, which I feel is definitely the weakest match on this card for the night. It's Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the Unholy Union. Unholy Union has had the title since Scotland, Clash of the Castle, so about a little bit over 2 months, I want to say.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was just for that big hometown pop because they promptly went and lost it in 12 minutes. So, again, I'm just like, this match didn't get enough time to breathe. I just feel like the women's tag championships are kind of aimless right now. Between Bianca and Jade, I don't think there's a women's tag team that can stand up against them in terms of, crowd interest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even Shayna's new faction, I haven't heard anything about them for like weeks now. So, at least anybody talking about them, they might have been on a show. I don't watch the shows each week.
I mean, they were on Monday Night Raw, but Sonya said one of the most ironic fucking things. And yeah, I'll go into that shortly.
So,
but other than that,
yeah, it's just
it was a fine match.
Just a fine match, but 12 minutes, nothing really to.
It was enough time for everyone to get their stuff in.
They got their stuff in.
It didn't take too much time.
Bianca and Jade. Yeah, go ahead.
It was pretty much the standard. It was just Bianca basically trying to build up to the tag with Jade, and Jade just dominating. That's pretty much what most of the match was.
I think on Twitter they posted too that this pay-per-view was Jade's 100th match wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's true, then have they just not had her in house shows? Or
they're talking about televised matches.
Okay. It's just like, it seems like a weird number considering their house show schedule.
Right.
I mean, Jade's also not going to be on every single house.
She's
match.
not going to be on every show. Yeah, she's not going to be on every house show. But yeah, Bianca and Jade hit their still really sweet finisher. Get the pin, and once again are women's tag team champions. Probably would have liked this match to have just a little more time, and I think that's one of the constant complaints we have with both companies is just give the women more time. It's like, please. 12 minutes on a 4-hour show. This should have been somewhere between 15 and 20. 12 minutes on a 4-hour show. Mm-hmm. With an hour and 45 to an hour and 50 of total wrestling. You tell me you can't cut a commercial down a little more? Give them a few more minutes?
With only 5 matches on this card.
It's only 5 matches. It's just like, Jesus Christ. Match 3, we get CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I like this match from a theatric standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
This was an okay wrestling match. This was a great, just spectacle match, though.
I will say this should have been the feud ender, I think.
When he attacked him on Monday, I was like, God damn it, dude, we're still doing this shit.
Yeah.
At this point, if I'm Phil at this point, keep the fucking bracelet. I'll have AJ just make me another one. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Is he stupid? Just make another bracelet.
Did you
only
see
like 50 cents too? That's the thing.
Did you see the Twitter where Drew went all the way to that fan who made?
Oh yeah, he's like, your blood's on his. Yeah. There was also the tweet going around of him hitting Phil Punk's eyes, and somebody splicing another movie scene of somebody getting their eyes gouged out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and once I saw him attack him on Monday, dude, I'm like, they're going to draw this shit out to Mania, aren't they?
No, just Hell in the Cell, most likely, or Bad Blood.
Bad Blood's probably where it actually ends, unless they really want to wait till Survivor Series for the actual big pay-per-view.
Yeah, because it's rumored that they're going to be in a Hell in a Cell match, so that third match is going to probably be the most violent of the 3.
If it's a Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood, I can get behind that. It's just, it feels weird to have a feud like this end on a B show pay-per-view, but
yeah, that's what I mean. You're right. It might go to Survivor Series.
And if it goes to Survivor, I'm like, God, can this feud just fucking end already? It's like
the problem with it is they don't necessarily have anyone penciled in to go.
They don't have the roster size. I think that's something we've talked about in the past. It's just WWE, it's like, yeah, we'll curate our talent, but I'm like, you gotta curate a few more people in, man. You guys have had the same roster size since you fired everybody back in 2020.
We tried, and then some shit happens like Odyssey Jones.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
that's a whole thing.
That's
Just
a whole
suddenly,
last
suddenly,
thing.
just like dust in the wind, just removed
got
from the
Thanos
internal
snapped, like,
roster.
Just
Fucked
Thanos
around
snap
and
him
found
out of
out.
existence.
And I'm like, at least, okay, so if it is domestic abuse, like they say it is, just get him off TV. Yeah, just done. Be done with him.
Well,
We did.
well,
we
they
did.
did.
They
We did the
did.
same.
They
moved him
Yeah.
from the roster
Well, I
and
mean, like
everything.
that's the thing. We did the same thing with Velveteen. That's fine. But if it's like, if you're just gonna fire the guy, at least like have Tony D'Angelo kill him or something in NXT. Like, so the fact that like,
Not
so
again.
the fact that like there's just like no storyline. It's like, oh yeah, they found something. We're just like, get the fuck out. It's like,
yeah.
And didn't he do that like twice? Because they
He's done
got
that-
rid of one of the dudes in his faction, and then they got rid of what's his name?
Eric Young.
No, what's his name? Drew Gulak. That's it.
Oh.
They did it.
yeah, they
did him
killed
like that, too.
Drew Gulak after the whole Ronda Rousey thing, and he
So,
did
that's
kill.
like the perfect.
He did kill one of
that's
his
like the
guys, and that
perfect
guy
plot
showed up in Ring of
convenience.
Honor. So
Yeah, that is the perfect plot
When you die,
convenience
you
right
end
there.
up in
It's
Ring
just
of
like,
Honor.
we need to fire a guy. Let's just have the D'Angelo family just kill him.
yeah, like you have a storyline
makes
reason
sense.
for people to just be gone from your roster. It's
Right.
like,
Well, because
Um,
when you think about it, what would that theoretically killing Odyssey Jones really do for the family?
I don't know. They're
I think it's
they're
better.
Italian. I don't know.
I just think it's plot convenience. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's better that they just got rid of him and didn't like just like nope, you're done.
How many
Go
people?
away.
It's just funny. How many people have TNA killed and they've come back from the dead? Like
I think they've killed Abyss like 3 or 4 times.
they've actually like killed people in TNA, and then they're like,
TNA
"Ha,
has like a whole
I sur-
undead realm too. So that's
it cuts
so
through the
have
whole-
a matter of plot convenience as well.
It's just the hospital bed. Just I lived, bitch. It's just no, but
Speaking
this
of
match.
dead, Lucha Underground.
Oh yeah, just they straight up killed people when their contracts ended. Well, they also were trying to go for like a straight TV show too, which was an interesting take on it. This match,
Anyway.
pretty good wrestling between all the shenanigans. I think the spot that really stood out in this for me was Drew carrying Punk and touching the corners, which has this been a thing. I can't remember if this was the first time they've done this. The strap match in WWE where they had like touched the corners.
Strap matches and they've done strap matches in WWE before, and I don't know if they did that specific spot. I can't remember the last time I saw one, but
I can't remember
yeah.
the touching the fucking ring post.
That's been a thing.
That's part of the match.
Okay.
That's been part of the match forever. They just hung lights up for this one.
Yeah, they just had the effect for it.
Okay. So yeah, there was Drew being all cocky carrying CM Punk, and he was touching the turnbuckles, and then Punk was reaching out and touching him as he walked past. And I was like, that'd be a really good way to end this match if this is like the plan, but then he caught him halfway, and I was like, damn it, that actually would have been a really, really cool finish.
Mm-hmm.
It would have brought me back to this company a little bit, because I'm like, you guys
I
can be
would've-
creative.
I would have liked it if it was like some Bugs Bunny shit where like he touches one and then Punk touches behind him, and then it just negates it. Next one touches, negates. Next one touches, negates, and he goes to the fourth, and he goes back to the first corner. He's like, "Hey, wait a minute."
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's great. We had like the typical like strap match spots, pulling people out of moves and stuff like that, pulling them out of the ring. I can really believe Drew as a character just wants to murder this man, and it's like it's
Pulling
great
out the
character
blicky
work.
next time.
But I'm like, at the end of the day, we're still fighting over a bracelet, and I'm just kind of like, have we had to get to this point for this?
I think what it is is they don't want either of these two people to be like fed to Gunther or whoever ends up being
That's fair.
the world heavyweight champion. Because then what do you do after that? It's like these two marquee names they're saving them for what? A small time pay-per-view?
Because I don't think Gunther loses that title until WrestleMania at bare minimum, so they got to keep this going somehow. They're probably going to try to save Punk for WrestleMania, to give him his big match.
That would be a good marquee match between Punk and Gunther.
So they got to flesh this out in the meantime. Mm-hmm.
Oh, just fucking CM Punk's gonna take one chop and just be done with that match. Like
CM Punk's gonna take one chop and then go on the post media scrum and be like, "These people are fucking kids."
It's like
I'm working with a bunch of children.
He's gonna be like, God, is that what he's been doing to people? Like,
He's gonna make this big twit longer about like stiffing people, going into business for themselves.
But yeah, this match was pretty good. I definitely enjoyed this one. I enjoyed like some of the antics when it got to them starting to touch the corners. I think he hit McIntyre with what 2 or 3 go to sleeps before he started his round around the. Yeah, he just like made sure that Drew was done before he went and touched the turnbuckles. Which with that, it did feel like that should have been the definitive end of this feud, but you're right. Both these guys are top stars. I don't think they can really give them a definitive win onto like a big event. That's just how WWE is. But I'm just like, man, I am ready for both these guys to go on to new opponents or something, you know. Feed Drew some NXT guys, you know, just get some new people up into the main roster here. I think when they finish, I think Oba Femi and Trick Williams will be good additions to, you know, the main roster, especially fucking Oba. That guy's going to destroy half the fucking main roster.
I think Oba's
Trips going to just be like, you, buddy, you're my new guy.
You're the new one. You're the new monster.
I think Oba's going to be a world heavyweight champion.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. He's got that quality.
He's got it. He's gonna be world heavyweight champion. I say that about Trick Williams all the time too. That man has like star quality about him.
Yeah, that man may not be like the best wrestler, but he does have the character work. He has the charisma. The crowd can connect with him.
He's got the aura.
He has the aura. I think Oba Femi though is definitely like, if he can stay away from all the fucking problems and the baggage, he could be like this new gen Brock Lesnar, you know? Mm-hmm. Just like tearing through low card guys until it's like, you know what, I'm done. Where's a fucking challenge?
I want that eventual Oba and Gunther match because they're gonna hit each other really hard.
They came in.
They're gonna slack the hell out of each other.
I want to see. I know it does. It's like not even on the cards yet, but I would love to see Bronson Reed and Gunther go up against each other.
I think after this match. I want to say probably after the Sammy match, I could see Bronson Reed being a good, like, you know, transition feud to whoever the next big guy is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I don't think Sammy and Gunther are going to have one match. I think they're going to draw this out until the next big pay-per-view.
And one other thing about Bronson, I don't think I've ever seen somebody get heated up as fast as he has. Because every time he does a tsunami, that crowd just comes alive for it.
Yeah, you know, the crowd loves it. The
crowd
loves Seth Rollins.
Shit, I turned on my new PS3. Turn it off, please. Oh yeah, it's just the impulsive thoughts won today, and I went and bought a PS3 again. So
good job.
GameStop,
yeah,
GameStop did not have them. I had to go elsewhere.
Online?
No, I went to the local retro store. This is considered retro now, and it makes me sad. So
it's like
the stores and stuff are now deactivated on it, but maybe you can jailbreak it.
Yeah, Bronson Reed got a fucking splash over. That man's talented.
Bronson Reed got the splash over by killing Seth Rollins.
He did. He murdered Seth Rollins. And then he put Braun Strowman through the roof of a car.
Yes.
And then he did call it out. It's like, so the guy I beat last week gets this IC title match. Like, because they gave it to fucking Strowman. And not Bronson. They took Bronson out of the match. And it's like, what? But also getting him out of the IC. Getting him out of the IC thing is like, oh, cool. He's not chasing a belt right now. Let's throw him against Gunther.
Like, well, he's also this is also in storyline him being punished for killing wrestlers.
Yeah. He has injured a lot of their already small roster. So I think that's another thing. I think the rosters being small is only exacerbated with 2 shows that have split rosters.
Yep.
Just one roster, 2 shows, just fill out time. That's all you have to do, W. You have a roster here, fill out the time. You have 7 hours of your main shows each week.
Or at the very least, just call some guys from NXT up, maybe fill out that roster a little bit more. I mean, we already got 2 that can come in mind, and, they got to do something. Either that or maybe start offering some more contract money to get some of these guys in there.
Yeah. So yeah, I like this match for the spectacle. It's a very fun match for their feud. hoping that they can at least keep it creative if it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Then we get a mixed tag team match with the Terror Twins, which is kind of a dumb name, but I dig it at times. Of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley versus the Judgment Day, which is Dom Mysterio and Liv Morgan. I think this was just the kind of match that was there to show, even without Judgment Day, these two are threats. These two are former World Heavyweight Champions or Women's Champions, and Fergal and his merry band of Street Toughs are not going to beat these two that easily.
Yeah.
I still can't believe fucking Finn Balor's name is Fergal. That shit kills me every time I think about it. Like,
he's
Fergal Devitt.
Yeah.
AKA Prince Devitt. New Japan.
This match was definitely just geared towards showing that the Terror Twins are going to be a threat wherever they go. Even with JD Madonna and Carlito and Finn coming out, the numbers didn't matter. And if I remember correctly, Rhea did hit Dom Mysterio with Riptide this match. If I remember correctly. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Typically WWE is not like the reverse of that, the man on women violence, but there is something satisfying of seeing Ripley just slam Dominic Mysterio.
And I think she got him in that little head scissors in the corner.
They called back the head scissors.
They called back to when it all started.
How it started. And it's like,
how it's going.
He's scared. She's enjoying it. And then it's just like how it's going. He's terrified. She's very much enjoying it. And then Liv Morgan actually taking the pin this match, which with how Rhea pins her opponents, Twitter got really excited post-match. A ton of screenshots, a ton of tweets. I appreciate that side of the internet wrestling community.
Oh, Rhea has a name for that now. She calls it the pretzel pin, so to speak.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I like how they're keeping Priest and Rhea dominant, though. I mean, both these two lost their titles, recently, and now they're taking on a faction as a two-person team, and they're still being portrayed as just powerhouses.
Well, they are. They're
instead of like
IRL tough powerhouses.
Yeah, but it's like you would think like, oh, the numbers advantage these two, no matter how tough they are, would always be caught, off guard. These are being booked like smart baby faces now. Which is refreshing.
And it goes to show you that they're pretty much trying to display to you just what the Judgment Day lost when they turned on these two. Yeah. I mean, these were the two powerhouses of the group. Okay, and then they're trying to show you that the Judgment Day is going to struggle without these guys. So I think that's just perfectly illustrated right there.
Yeah, it's definitely like Finn Balor's just like, well, shit, this is the team I have now. So I guess we'll figure out what to do from here on out. I definitely think they're saving getting Finn and Damian Priest into a ring together, because he's always been on the outside whenever Judgment Day has shown up. It's always been Carlito and JD, trying to interfere. Finn's kept his distance. So when these two finally get into a ring together, I think it's probably going to be at one of the big shows, either Survivor Series or WrestleMania. And hell, if they do classic like Survivor Series, I could see a 2v4 with Judgment Day and Rhea and Damian Priest, and Damian and Rhea still winning. Like that could be a little change on the whole formula. But I think Finn's at this point in his career now where it's just like, I'll do what you guys want me to do,
Yeah.
Here. So
yeah,
because we talked to my friend Josh and I talked about it. After he lost the Universal title, they have like not really given him another chance at a world title, have they?
A couple of times,
necessarily.
Not. It's been a while. I think he got one during Roman's.
Yeah, that was the last one he got.
Yeah.
So he just kind of always been kept away from, those. So I don't know if that's any fault of his own or not, or maybe just, hey, you don't fit into the booking of this right now. We have all these new guys, this new blood that's starting to rise up. And just his place in all this just seems weird. There's definitely going to be a Priest and Finn match down the line. I just don't know how long they're going to wait for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think if I had to guess, they would most likely do it at Survivor Series. That's one of the big four.
Yeah.
You know, or at least that would be the start of it, and maybe it would end at WrestleMania, because I think this is going to be a long program between, you know, the Terror Twins and the Judgment Day.
Yeah. We did see that Terror Twins did successfully get Jey Uso to help them out.
Mm-hmm.
Jay also like posted something. It was like taking Rhea Ripley to Waffle House, so they're running that joke back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well they got Jey Uso. Are they gonna pull in somebody else? And are we getting a 4-on-4 like match with these guys?
I think that is the plan, is that for these two factions is that they'll slowly build up a crew for a Survivor Series match. It'll probably be the one Survivor Series match that they have.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
War Games. War Games is still on the table. You have William Regal again. He can show up out of nowhere and yell it out
War
again.
Games.
Yeah, they do. He's able to appear on television now.
Yep. Now for my match of the night here. God damn.
Oh, for sure.
This fucking match was so good. It's Gunther versus Randy Orton. And when you put anybody versus Randy Orton, he's going to bring out the best in them. But when you put somebody like Gunther, who's just naturally fucking good at this game, in the ring with them, you get something special, especially when it comes to styles.
Mm-hmm.
This match was
They're both very good. Like methodical, but in different ways. Like Randy Orton's like the pull you apart type of methodical with like strikes and stuff, but like Gunther will just like chop the fuck out of you.
Yeah, this felt like one of those classic 90s wrestling matches. The really
absolutely.
Good ones. Like, you know, it's just two guys, and there's not necessarily a whole lot of flips or dives or any of that shit.
This is very classic wrestling.
This is very classic, good old fashioned, you know, punch, kick, slam goodness.
This is like, if any of you have ever watched ECW, this is like Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two smash mouth.
Yeah, and I mean, the crowd also really helped this match kind of with a funny start. The crowd was doing the wave at the beginning of this match, and at some point Randy just like did it too, and then the crowd just stopped. Like, it was just one of those things like
good.
Randy did it once and then like that was it. And it's just like, this kind of reminds me of when Cesaro, you know, popped the beach ball during that one pay-per-view. Just like a wrestler just killing the crowd activity.
That will never not be funny.
It's always so funny to think about. Yeah, this match was just dudes wrestling. Gunther chopping the shit out of Randy. I think this is the first time Randy's like really taken these chops. You can see on his face, he was like, ooh. It's like, what the fuck?
There was like, you hear him go, ah, fuck.
Yeah, like there was like one chop, like he just goes, fuck.
Yeah, just like he goes, oh fuck. It's like, oh yeah, you didn't prep for this, did you, Randy?
I don't think Randy was familiar with how hard Gunther chops.
Sorry, Gunther, I wasn't familiar with your game. It's like, there was I think one of the moments that I think stood out for me for how simple it was, but also just showing character work for Gunther, is Randy was about to hit the RKO and Gunther just pushed him off, like across the ring. It's like having that awareness of, you know, Randy's history and actions. It's just showing Gunther is an intelligent wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he knows his opponents. He doesn't underestimate them for the most part. It's just, he's like, I'm not going to get caught off guard by that shit. Miss me with that shit.
Also, one thing I really do appreciate about Gunther is the way he sells offense. Like, he was selling a shoulder injury for most of this match.
Oh no, his arm was fucking bruised up too.
His arm was like bruised up and shit, and he was just selling that so well. You know, I don't think I've ever seen another heel do that.
Yeah, and there was points too where he couldn't chop with that hand either. He had to do his other hand.
Yeah.
To chop, but I'm just like, okay, cool. So there's a nice little storytelling thread going through this match too, of Randy went for the chopping arm.
Mm-hmm.
Showing that, you know, he's an experienced wrestler too. It's like, okay, well, I took one chop from that. Let's not do that again. Let's stop this arm from being functional. And, yeah, and then just a sign of respect at the end too. Something Randy rarely does. Approaching his opponent, giving him the handshake. It felt like a real passing of the torch, even though Randy's just, you know, re-signed another like contract extension. This is like Randy saying like, all right, you know, you got it. You can You can carry this. I think it was just a really good show of sportsmanship for that.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking 35 minutes of this shit, man. This is a great fucking match.
I could have easily gone another 10 minutes of this and been fine.
I think if you want to introduce somebody to technical wrestling, this is a good match to do it.
Yeah.
I think when we were talking in the past about like, if you just want to see like a fun like match, I think it was like one of the Will Ospreay matches. If you want to see a good like tag team match, we had something else pointed out to them. But like, if you want to watch just like old fashioned wrestling, like no flips, no crazy spots, just two guys trying to beat the shit out of each other, I think this match is the best recent example of it. And I think
I'd agree.
I think when it comes to like powerhouses too, I think probably the most recent match for that is the Hobbs Miro one. Just so you can see also here how the crowd gets into it with the right, energy.
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, man, like both wrestling companies need more heavyweights. Like there need to be more heavyweight matches like this where it's just good old straight up classic wrestling. You know, I think there's still a subset of the fan base who still enjoy those kind of matches. I know I do.
Oh, Germany ate this shit up.
They love this. I mean, this is what I personally want more of.
I will say there's nothing wrong with, a flippy match. Unless someone's obviously being unsafe, Teddy Hart. But if you know, you know.
That's a whole other podcast, by the way.
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
But there has to be a place for it. It doesn't just need to be like flippy all the time. It can be like a technical match. It can be a nice, like a hardcore match, or some other stuff's thrown in. I think AEW tries to do a little bit of all of the above, but
depending on
very
who
clearly have a leaning towards flippy.
Yeah, they have more of like the athleticism behind it. They have a roster that does fit the grounded, just powerhouse wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
WWE has that too. Just depends on what feud they're in at the time. Like you would have all the luchadors like not on the show, surprisingly. Concerning WWE, you just had Dragon Lee come back in a TV match, so it's just like I don't think WWE wants luchadors anymore, which sucks because I think earlier this week they were talking about Nathan Frazier down in NXT, who's just like one of the best wrestlers in NXT right now. Like he's probably on par with the top guys in the company, but they just have him in NXT right now. And it's just like, come on, man, this guy can bring a whole different energy to the main roster that you guys don't have right now.
Yeah, and like having that like attraction in the match card, perfectly fine. Just don't make it all about that.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing that WWE does good, especially with Gunther, just as a wrestler right now, is giving him different types of matches. You had him in a very technical match with Gable. You had him in like the underdog style match with Sami Zayn for the IC title. Now you have him with the experienced veteran. And, there's a good storytelling going on where it's like, oh shit, my fucking arm. And I need to be prepared for Randy just to hit me with an RKO out of anywhere. So it's just like Gunther is just a great fucking champion right now. And I'm glad they pulled the trigger when they did. Like, it's
because that dude has plenty of versatility. It's like I said, he's one of those guys you can just put in the ring with anybody and he can just pretty much adjust to his style while still maintaining his. He's been doing that forever.
What was the interview? It's just like, how do you feel about like Will Ospreay's win and something else? And it's just like, how do you feel about European wrestlers like being on top with like Zack Sabre Jr.? And he's just like, well, we're better. So it's just like, I'm like, he's right. I mean, he's on top in WWE. You have Will Ospreay as one of AEW's top. You have fucking Zack Sabre Jr. in New Japan. Like, yeah, European wrestlers are winning this year. Like,
yeah, they are. Which is kind of sad they're not doing NXT Europe anymore because we would have gotten exposed to more of that. But it is what it is.
It's crazy thinking about those three because those three kind of cover all angles of wrestling. You have Gunther, who's like the powerhouse. You have Zack Sabre, who's like the technical genius, and then you have flippy shit Will Ospreay. And it's just like, cool. The triangle of European wrestlers are on top right now. It feels
like.
Like
you get one of those guys to do straight up like Japanese style pro wrestling. You cover all four bases there.
Dude, I would at some point in the future, man, I would love to see Gunther in New Japan. Like those wrestlers would be like, "Oh fuck, what the fuck is this?" It's like
I want to get chopped by.
Especially he's talked about like some of like the people who are Eddie Kingston's like inspirations are also some of Gunther's like inspirations. And I think maybe an excursion into Noah if he loses the title, you know, like they're doing with the NXT guys. Like, hey, Gunther, let's go see what you can do in Japan when people just like actually try to beat the shit out of each other. So like,
Might be cool.
it might be cool. I mean, there's so many possibilities, but just with WWE's like schedules and stuff like that, and the fact that their partnership with Noah has only been NXT guys for the most part, it's just like, oh, this is what we're doing.
Well, AJ Styles was there.
AJ was there. He kind of started it, and I think the only person that's really benefited from it is Tavian Heights.
Yeah,
From NXT.
Yeah,
like all the clips I've seen of that guy in Noah, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's fucking good.
Oh, he's really good. And it's like, I think when he gets back to NXT, they're gonna start building him up because after what he did over there, watching all them videos, I don't think there's any way you could not build him after that.
And it's crazy to me that fucking Shawn Michaels is booking Joe Hendry better than his own company. Like Joe Hendry came over here looking like a star, and he goes back to NXT and like loses both title opportunities.
TNA.
It's just like, man, that man is on his way to NXT the moment that contract is up.
Oh, big time. And they're gonna put the title on him eventually if he does.
Yeah,
That's still coming.
yeah. It's just God. I hope Gunther has a long title reign where he gets a bunch of different opponents, like just a bunch of different styles. Like, yeah, him and Bronson Reed would probably be a fantastic match to watch in terms of powerhouses. This feud with Sammy
would be nice.
Yeah, this feud with Sammy is going to be fucking good. Sammy's just a great wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, man, I hope he carries it into Mania and then hopefully out of Mania too. Like, but I feel like maybe Mania would be somebody else's moment, especially if Punk's out of his whole Drew McIntyre thing. If they are going to build up to, you know, Punk having a title at some point, I can see them also running back Drew and Gunther and, you know, giving him a title at Mania or something like that.
Maybe placing Sheamus in there for a little bit.
If I could get more Sheamus Drew Gunther matches like we had at fucking Clash at the Castle or whatever that triple threat was, yeah, just all of it, please.
They had Sheamus against Strowman on Raw this week, right?
Believe so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because that's partly how he died.
Yeah, just through the top of a car.
Yep.
Also, kudos to not only Bronson and Strowman for making that also as safe as fucking possible.
Yeah,
because that light inside the car like did get dented enough that it like popped with like arc from electricity. So I was just like, oh shit, that battery was still connected.
That was funny.
Like
that was close.
Like you see the popping of the dome light in the car, and I'm like, oh, they still had that car energized with the battery inside of it.
Oh, that thing is still on.
They just like parked that thing right there.
Yep.
But yeah, if these pay-per-views are going to be 5 or 6 matches, I can get behind them if the quality for the most part is like this. I mean, there'll always be a weak match or weakest match on any card. But I also think that if you switch it up, depending on who's in that match, a lot of matches could just be equal, like as great fucking matches.
Mm-hmm.
Just the women's tag titles are just, they seem like a pointless title right now. They really do. I'm hoping it changes.
I just wish they'd kind of do a little bit more with that. I'm pretty certain they're going to try to build Pure Fusion Collective up next as the challenges to Jade and Bianca. You know,
yeah.
And
because didn't this bring it back to Damage Control, like challenging them again?
Yeah.
I'm like, we've seen this feud, right?
We've seen it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't think their female roster is deep enough to have tag titles, but like a women's intercontinental, or hell, even if you're going to like I think Josh and I joked about it. If you're going to Netflix and USA and CW, just be like the women's CW title, like fucking AEW does with TBS and TNT. Like, just make your TV titles, you know, like
women's Intercontinental United States Championship.
Yeah,
you
just
know,
at least one of them, you know. Maybe the work rate. I would say the work rate title with the IC would probably be the better pick.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's so funny. They're also saying Julia versus Roxanne Perez on the first day of the CW show, and I'm like, oh yeah, Julia is getting crowned the day of. It's like,
Oh yeah,
they're going to a new network with a red hot new champion. Like, let's fucking go.
It's like I said, man. Like the NXT, it's very straightforward. You know, you can almost tell what's going to happen with that.
It's everybody's getting their reps in, just the practice.
Yeah, and they do it in such a manner that it's still interesting to watch. But you know what the deal is. And you pretty much know that once Roxanne loses that title, she's going to get moved up to the main roster anyway. So, because I think she's beyond ready for that.
Oh, she was. She had those stints too in SmackDown early last year, right? Where even like all the women in the roster like praised her for the matches that she was in. But the fact
she's beyond ready.
The fact that they kept her in NXT for so long, I'm just kind of like, she's ready now, my dudes.
Yeah, like she should have been on the main roster months ago, in my opinion. But I guess they just wanted to make sure that they try to get her as big as possible before they move her up, which is fine. But
wasn't there also like wasn't there also some injuries between the SmackDown run and the women's title? So yeah, they probably just had to keep her in a little longer because of all that.
Right.
But all in all, I like this pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was fine.
Opening and the ending were really good matches. I would recommend people watch those if you want like some good wrestling matches. Interested to see where Rhea and Damian go. Women's tag, I hope they can find some fire behind those titles. And yeah, just Gunther's reign is great, and I'm interested to see where they're going with Cody, and I hope it's not immediately back to the bloodline. I hope there's something else, between.
They got to figure out some more stuff to do with Cody's title run right now, because I think right now it's starting to run out of juice, especially him being involved with the bloodline all the time.
I think the heel turn might be needed sooner than later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all in all, a good pay-per-view. Have we had any matches announced for Bad Blood?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We have some that we are pretty sure are going to happen, but we don't have any officially announced yet. We're pretty sure Punk and McIntyre is going to happen.
I can see it being Punk and McIntyre, and more than likely it'll be Cody and somebody from the bloodline. Unless they do like a KO heel turn on SmackDown.
And run that back, yeah.
And then run that back.
I think what I would love to see is Punk versus McIntyre, and they just make it like shot for shot. HBK versus Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. Complete with someone like coming in and breaking off the door.
Yeah, so yeah, nothing announced yet, but we can definitely see the building of a feud going into it. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. That's in October, so the next few weeks will make that card readily available for us. Yeah, but the next episode is going to be All Out.
Yep, All Out, which is this is coming on this Saturday.
The card for this looks fucking good too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the card for this one so far is Ospreay and Pac, which I think is going to steal the show. The second one, the one that I think is going to probably still be match of the night though, is Swerve and Hangman. MJF and Garcia might be good. We're getting Sheeta versus Mercedes, and then the world title of Danielson and Jack Perry, which I feel is just like a short feud for Danielson's run, especially since Darby still has a title reign. He can throw up against Danielson. I think Jack's just there because like, hey, I pinned you last time. I'm the heel for your first, defense.
Yeah.
Which there's been a lot of discourse about that. And I'm like, no, it makes for perfect fucking sense. You guys just don't watch the show, so you don't know.
I mean, shit, they're doing this. They're virtually doing the same thing with Sammy and Gunther right now, because Sammy was the last person.
Yeah, Sammy was the same thing. I mean, I was the last person to beat you, and I'm like, this is the Jack argument. Like, I think we'll see though in probably about an hour or so when Dynamite starts. If there'll be like a nice renewed heated like hatred going into this Swerve Hangman match. Because they really put out that video today of Swerve, I've bought my childhood home. And Hangman's like, boy, it would be a shame if arson happens. And I'm like, I think we're going to see Hangman just go full crazy and burn the house down tonight before they go into their steel cage on Saturday. And I'm just
I would be in for that, but as someone who grew up in poverty as well, they could never make me hate Swerve for that. Like,
that's the thing. I'm like, it's like, we're not going to hate Swerve. You've burned his house down. We're just going to back him up now because you've crossed. He broke into your house. You burned his down.
It would totally make sense for Hangman to do that because of how deranged he is right now. Yeah. So
somebody posted the four match graphics for him and Swerve, and Hangman's expression is getting like more and more crazy as the matches go on. It's like first one is like confident, second one's like concerned because he lost the first one, and then it's like hatred in the third one for the death match, and now this last one's like Hangman's doing his, and I'm like, the deranged step is right here. Like, this is the evolution of Hangman over the last year.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I fully believe we're going to see Hangman burn somebody's house down tonight. Like, it's gonna be great. But yeah, so we'll have. I wouldn't be mad with six matches on this card either for all out. I think the 6 matches they have here are also more than enough like content for this.
Mm-hmm.
Just see the CMLL Women's Championship, the International title, the World title, the TBS, and then 2 singles, one being a steel cage. I think that's a perfect spread. Yeah. Especially 2 weeks after their last event. I don't think they have to go for another 9-match card. Which I don't think we're getting. I think we're getting 6 matches. I think that's probably, since this is the last week. So unless they add something on Rampage, I think this is the card we have, which is going to be great. Hopefully their 6-match cards, bring the same quality out in people. But also make it easier for us to talk about.
Right.
Yep.
So, well, a short pay-per-view, and looking at the time here, kind of a short episode. I mean, we're coming up on
what do you want?
We're coming up on an hour, but I mean, so we got content out of it, but yeah, there's not really a lot to talk about.
Yeah, what do you want? It was 5 matches.
It was 5 matches, and 4 of them were good. 1 was okay. Like,
we could just talk about real quick. One of the most ironic things I heard on Raw this week was Sonya Deville talking about no man in the audience can take her home, and I'm like, duh, So
yeah, that was a whole thing.
That was fucking hilarious.
What a weird week for WWE. What a weird week for WWE, though. Like that being said on air, Odyssey Jones disappearing. It's like, oh, also we have the thing now that the boys, the Tate twins, and Kevin Kelly are suing AEW for I guess their releases earlier. So that's gonna be fun to see.
I think this is AEW's first lawsuit, right? In the 5-year company.
They. As a company, yes, it's the first lawsuit, but they also made the charges against one of the wrestlers just disappear. So I'm like, this probably is not going to see a courtroom, if I'm being completely honest.
No.
Tony Khan's got that nipple baby money.
Tony Khan made a assault with a weapon charge disappear in Florida, of all places.
Well, Florida has stand your ground, so,
That's fair.
I mean, his dad does own the Jaguars down there, so he is maybe a staple somewhat in northern Florida.
Oh, yeah, he's like, hey, you like your football team? Yeah. Do you like them staying here in Florida? Yeah. Because that is. Do you like a football team?
Hey, why don't you get an autograph with the quarterback?
To be fair, though, like sports teams like that in areas are like income for like tourists and games and stuff like that. So I'm saying, we don't need to keep the Jaguars here. It's like, probably like, you're right. You don't. So, but, yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see how that develops. Just 2 out of 3 North American companies have lawsuits going on right now. And I'm just like, wrestling, can we just do better sometimes, please? Can we just go 1 year without some nonsense outside of the wrestling?
That's never going to happen.
It's like, yeah, so interesting to see where all that's going to go. But yeah, it's just an interesting week in wrestling, and one more weekend of pay-per-views, and then we finally get a fucking break.
Right.
I get a day back in my streaming schedule. We get to take a break on a Saturday night and not have to watch like wrestling. We can actually go out and like do things. Or at least I can, because I commit to watching it in the Discord. Yeah, so that'd be about 2 weeks until Bad Blood. We're not doing Halloween Havoc, that's NXT. We're not doing Crown Jewel because fuck that.
Yeah.
Saudi.
Yeah, we're doing Survivor Series. We'll be doing All Out. We'll be doing Wrestle Dream. That's the one that's in Washington, so that's in our time zone. Which there was also almost an impromptu impulse buy for me to go see Wrestle Dream if Haley was going.
Yeah, that would have been
I think
funny.
we talked about that last time. I was like fully committed to dropping a K on train tickets and having Haley buy my ticket and just paying her back.
Man,
I was like, I'll commit to this.
I wish I had the money to go to Wrestle Dream because I would just go with DC just to have a good time up there with Wrestle Dream.
Wrestle Dream's in Tacoma.
Oh, Tacoma, Washington, not DC.
Yeah,
okay.
Tacoma, Washington. So I was like, I will spend 3 days to and from on a train, go hang out with Haley and see wrestling, and then come back and miss like 6 days of work. So I was like, dude, I was like looking at my finances, like, how can I split the payments on these? I asked Haley, I was like, are you legitimately thinking about going? I need to know before I spend this money. Every time she's like, no, we're probably not. So,
Yeah.
or she's waiting for a friend over there to see if they're going. She just doesn't want to go alone. But I was just like, okay, I'm not going to spend $1,000 to go to Tacoma, Washington to watch wrestling. We'll save that for next year when I have like better timing on this. But Wrestle Dream, Full Gear, and World's End. So fucking 6 pay-per-views left for the year.
Yep.
Hell
just
yeah.
about.
Home stretch, y'all. Home stretch.
Home stretch.
This is it.
And God, it's like back-to-back weeks, then a break, and then back-to-back weeks. Just like, oh man. But then we'll be back to very very small early year schedule. So yeah, 6 more episodes for the year, and then we'll finish up our second year pay-per-views doing this. I think we started in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Like towards the back end of 2023. So this will be our first full year covering, pay-per-views or main roster shows. I feel like we have gotten a little bit better at talking about wrestling.
Oh yeah.
I want to
Big
believe
time.
we have. The presentation might not have changed a lot in terms of the episodes, but we're getting better at talking about wrestling. And also for people watching the videos, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck to do with this podcast, like visually. I'm thinking it might just go to an audio medium at some point down the line.
Right.
Just do the funky visualizer effect.
Oh yeah, I'll put in the visualizer like spectrogram.
Yeah.
So it's not just 3 guys in Discord windows talking to you. To have the ability to have like a studio or like set up in.
Just to fly, there's always that post about
have the Pat McAfee.
Oh, your shit was muted.
I hit my button and muted myself.
Well done.
I have one of those
Nice.
stupid like foot pedal like triggers from Elgato, and I forgot that I switched the pedal over to have mute on one of them. So I'd love to have like the Pat McAfee setup, for his
Just
like
invade a high school gym and have an episode there.
Right.
it's better than having just like the Joe Rogan 2 people across from the table.
I was gonna say the joke of that I wouldn't say anything if I won the lottery, but there'd be signs.
There'd be signs. It would just be us in a studio. It's like
Yeah.
Right.
me and X would have like a rented office space here in like Norfolk or something, and then we would have you on like a big screen as we're at like 2 desks.
It'd be like
There wouldn't be
ESPN set up.
there wouldn't be signs, but I would rent an office space for us to film our shit in.
Oh hell yeah.
But yeah, to win one day I'll win the lottery, and that's whenever I decide to play it. So but yeah, so we'll see you guys at All Out next week. And then continue on from there. But anybody have anything else to add? Anything you want to promote?
Same as ever. Wrestling's in a great spot.
Really is.
And neither company's
like and
paying
follow
you to
the
slob on the
podcast.
knob.
What's up?
That's it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. Again, as usual, if you're watching on YouTube, we have Spotify and other audio means. If you're listening to the audio means, we do have it on YouTube. As I just said, it's not a lot. It's just 3 guys in Discord windows. But there might be a change down the line somewhere. And
Maybe.
if you guys like this, subscribe or follow on any of the mediums that you guys listens to. These episodes do come out very frequently, not every week considering pay-per-views, but we do have frequent uploads here. And yeah. All right, guys. Also, there's links down below for social media, which I am still getting better at using. But we will see you guys next week for All Out, and hopefully that show is not tainted by any lawsuit shit.
Yeah.
Also, I'm looking at all these pay-per-view cards, and I'm like, just waiting for one of these pay-per-view cards to say Dalton Castle. But he's out with injury, so it's just like, come back, please. Dalton, I miss you. I miss you and your crazy energy that you have. But
Yeah.
we'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
Have a good day.
Bye.